for the family, but it's a part of our story that we were able to overcome and get through. But I didn't grow up like my dad. I think I've ended up like him in recent years, just because of the divinity and the ministry. But super impactful to me. My granddad as well. My great uncle was a minister. So I think just through evolution and through time, I've ended up like them, even though I didn't necessarily want to be or try to start off like them. But yeah, long answer to a short question. But
yeah, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
So,
what traits do you see of yourself that you may have gotten from your dad?
Man, definitely being able to show up.
Show up, yeah.
That's the first one. The second one, so my dad, he comes off as being quiet, but once you speak to him, you open up the floodgates and he's gonna talk. You know, he's gonna talk. And I want to say I used to really be like that, but now I do more initiating in conversations and, you know, engaging people, trying to pull things out. But yeah, like my son Caleb's like that.
Okay.
Like he'll come into a room, he won't shut down, but he will stick to himself until he warms up to the room, and then you kind of see a switch after that he's all around.
Yeah.
You know, sure enough, man. But that's something I've worked on. You know what I mean? Like reading books and making yourself uncomfortable, you know, to approach people and things like that. So that's something else that's very similar. I hope this is it. I mean, like my dad's character, because I remember. And this happened on multiple occasions, like someone he either knew from high school or somebody he just knew professionally. Like they come by the house. My dad also did taxes. He's a Jamaican, man. He's Jamaican. You got 10 jobs. Yeah, he only got three jobs. So man, like people would come by and get their taxes done. Like people he known for a long time. Wow. And men would tell me how good my dad is, like how good a person he is, and things like that. And you know, when you're 8, 9, 10, it ain't no big deal. Okay, yeah, cool, yeah, good, yeah.
That's
awesome,
bad. Yeah.
Awesome. Now I'm about to go play Nintendo. Yeah. But now, and I think about it, like how rare is that people, like men, share that with somebody's kids, like even the men that's close to you, like, you know, your dad's a real good guy. You know what I mean? So I hope my character lives up to his character. You know what I mean?
I think you're doing a good job, man.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, you're a guy of strong value, strong character, for sure. Yeah, I think for me, my dad was very mature. So when he passed, somebody wrote an article about him, his days in Charleston, and how he was with people that were like a decade older than him. So he was really mature for his age. That's something I've heard about myself, really my whole life, just the maturity.
You're an old man.
Yeah, I was probably called an old man for a long time. In college,
yes.
They called me an old man in college. Yeah. So I think that, I don't know where it comes from, but that maturity, if that's what you would call it, I think I got from my dad. And I see it in my kids as well, specifically my 15-year-old. She's not frazzled by anything. So I think she probably gets that from me. My 12-year-old is not as calm on things, but you know, I think they both have a level of maturity that's probably generational. And Gina, my wife, is very mature as well, but I definitely saw it in my dad growing up. And our relationship changed over the years. So as a kid, kind of like what you were saying, my dad was this big preacher in the church, and I was like, oh, that's dad. So it's thank you, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do I ever see that? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So, but I would always gravitate to him after service. He would be greeting people on the way out of church, and I would be up there with him, shaking hands and stuff. But I was watching him, and we had a good relationship. It did start to change, I think, college, I would say, when it became more of a friendship, and it was more so, let's talk about life, let's talk about some things. It was never sit down, let me teach you, but it was more so, it went from father, son to more of a man to man, I would say.
Yeah.
So,
two adults talking.
So that evolution happened. And I think probably, I remember in Spartanburg, senior year, around 16, I think I had my growth spurt. So I was kind of looking him eye to eye. At this point, my dad was 6'2.5", so pretty tall. Around then, I think he started to, not that it was bad, but it just became more of a mano y mano, I guess. So we had that mutual respect, and that I don't remember my dad ever beating me. Like, they weren't, you know, they didn't put that, you know, a couple pops here and there, but you know, they were not hands-on kind of parent. My sister got her share, but he had this presence that was kind of scary.
That's right. They kept you like similar. Yeah, similar. Like my dad popped me one time, and I cried, and it didn't even hurt. He hurt my pride. It's like, how dare you? Like, how dare you? Yeah. Yeah, man, that's something. But yeah, just like like you said, his presence kept you in check.
Yeah, that's right. It's like even when I got to college, my daddy was the district superintendent of the Methodist Church in Spartanburg. So I wasn't gonna cut up, but so bad. Yeah. Try not to cut up at all, but because I know I can go home, and I done been kicked out of school or something bad. It's like this. I got to keep my T's crossed and my I's dotted, because I got to go back and answer to not just my dad, my parents. So they just, them being who they were, kind of kept us in check. I tell my kids, I'm like, I don't know what y'all gonna do, but y'all got some big shoes to fill. So, but yeah, it was, yeah.
So, I think I know I was in my 30s before I started like calling my dad just to talk. Because on the phone, he's a man of short words. And, you know, he doesn't say much. It's like, hey, Dad, what's going on? Oh, everything getting along. You know, what's going on? What you got going on? Oh, I'm gonna run out pay a couple bills. Yeah. You know, had something to eat? Yeah, I had so and so. And that's about the end of the conversation. You know, and I'd be like, man, I'm just calling, checking in on you. But it was in my 30s before I started doing that. Just because, you know, coming up, it's like, man, that dude mean. Yeah. So, you know, it didn't get out of that. And not that he was even mean. It's just that, like I said, you know, growing up with that presence that kept you in check, it didn't evolve until I hit my 30s. I had somebody tell me this, one of our frat brothers, man. He's like, you don't realize how cool your parents are until you have kids.
Who told you that? Kevin Moore? Kokomo, yeah.
His birthday was... We might have to edit his name out. We don't see.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
His birthday was yesterday. I was texting with him yesterday.
Oh, okay. I need to call for something. But yeah, man. But yeah, and I thought about it. I'm like, that's true, man, because you see firsthand the things that your parents went through. It's like, man, they managed to keep it cool. You know. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's absolutely true. But yeah, man. From, I guess you could say, from one extreme to the other. Like even now, I'll call them, check up on them, and you know, we'll hang out. You know, we won't talk about much, but we'll just be hanging out at this point. So yeah. Now coming up, I would always he'd always snatch me up to go somewhere. Like if he had some work to do, like climb under a house because somebody's air conditioner broke or something like that, or he'll snatch me up, and so I did learn how to work. Okay. Also, you know what I mean? So that's another big thing. Like I said, man, he had all these different things going on, but he was also working for himself on the side. You know, so he always had something going on. So that's another trait. You know, when it's time to work, it's time to work. Yeah. You know.
What about? So we talked about similarities. What are some differences that you've noticed? If there are any. And I can go first. You want me to take it?
I'll go. Man. Personality-wise, we do have a lot of similarities personality-wise. Difference, like I think the one resounding thing is like, don't get me wrong, he was taking care of the family, like working that swing shift or whatnot. That would have to be a last option for me. And because I grew up, I almost want to say as a product of it, so he was never at games. I dare not say he wasn't there, but he just wasn't at games. Like, I can recall he came, so I ran track 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Then I ran track my junior year and my senior year.
What did you run?
I did high jump.
Really?
I did the high jump all those years, and I think I did the 400. I tried to do the 400 one time. Well, I got pulled into it. I didn't want to do it. He came to my track meet. I think it was my 7th grade year,
Okay.
So we did the high jump. I usually come in first in the high jump, and then we needed. I mean, well,
I usually come in.
I mean, it's just it is what it is, man. That was
it's what I do. It's what I do.
25 years ago. I mean, I'm just saying. It's not a whole lot of pride in
my
it.
bad.
I didn't shatter any records. It's what it is. And this one time he came, like I said, I came in first in the high jump. But then when it came time for the 400, we needed somebody else to run the race. You get points. Even if you just finish, you get points.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I never ran the 400, but the coach put me in.
Mm.
So, bam, we taking off. No, absolutely not. We going, and so I don't know how to pace myself because I never ran it. So I busted out full sprint for the first 100, and now we coming around the first curve, and man, when I'm telling you, I blew a tire. I just started walking. I started walking toward it because I just started walking toward the football field in the middle. Man. And afterwards, my dad said, "So you just quit, huh?" I'm like, yeah, yeah. He came to that, and then he came to one football game. I played football 8th grade, 9th grade, 11th to 12th. He came to one football game, and we were playing Columbia High, and it was this big running back dude, and I met him at I met him at the 5, and then we fell over. He knocked me back, and we fell over defense on like the 3. Yeah. Well, I played wide receiver and quarterback.
Okay.
And we met each other, and I fell over. And I ain't gonna lie, I got up and I seen the little lasers. You know what I mean?
Nice little concussion.
And after the game, I don't know if you tackle him or if he tackle you. Thank you, Daddy.
Thank you,
Daddy. I love you, Daddy.
Thank you for coming out.
Exactly. Thanks for coming out. See you. God bless you.
God bless you.
And I think he came my senior night for basketball. Him and my mom. They escort the seniors out. They give us flowers and all that stuff or whatever. So those are there's a theme. Every time he shows up, something crazy happens. Because I didn't finish the 400. I got steamrolled. He didn't score a touchdown, but I got steamrolled. I think I might have had a concussion. Back in the day, you had your bell rung. Nah. And then my senior year, they had to call the game at halftime because there was a fight in the concession stand.
Game over.
Yeah, game over. So we didn't even get finished out of season. So every time he shows up, something crazy.
So bad.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't show up. But yeah, man, but my mom was always there. Yeah. I guess you could say she covered the bases for him on that. So that's why I say, don't get me wrong, you gotta do what you gotta do with your family. But if I have an option, I'm gonna take an option to where I can be there for my kids. After, I want to see their extracurriculars. You know what I mean? Not saying that he didn't want to, but he just had to. That's just the decision he made. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm in a blessed situation schedule wise. So I get up at 4 o'clock. Yeah. So anywhere they need to go after school, I got it. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah. So.
Similar sports story. Funny story. So I played basketball. I started at 7. I was okay. We got some nice championships in college, but I wasn't a superstar. Yeah. I wasn't a superstar. I was nice. I got 6 man of the year.
6 man of the year,
yeah. I think. My dad, 6'2", he was a big guy. He played football, and I always wondered why he would never let me play football. I'd be outside, and I just could not play tackle, and for whatever reason. So one day I asked him, and he said, "Because you're too slow, son. You can't run fast." He told me I was too slow to play football. So I'm like, "Okay, thanks, Dad." And he went off someplace else, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, at least I got an answer from him." But so my football career never got started.
Never blossomed.
I played baseball for one day, and I had to quit because I walked home from practice and nobody picked me up. So they got mad at me for walking home, my parents, and so I quit baseball. But basketball was my go-to. Yeah. And my dad played, my mom played, so they were able to teach me. So yeah, similarities I talked about. Ending up like my dad. But my dad was, we're very different. I'm a lot like my mom as well. So I was a math and science person. We talked about that. My dad was religion and philosophy. So different interests. Even as I'm reading things now, my interest in reading is very different than what he was reading. Just different generations, I guess. My dad died at 59. My mom's dad died at 42, massive heart attack.
Man,
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, my dad's dad died at 72, so he got to see 70.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I want to change is I want to break the record. And I almost didn't. I almost broke it in the other direction. So now that I've kind of course corrected on some things, I want to be here for the long run. I want to see my grandkids. I want to see my great grandkids.
That's right.
And he worked hard. He pushed hard. He was a eat, drink, and be merry. But he didn't see 60. So I want to be around for the long ride. And whatever I got to do is what I'm gonna try to do to be here. So.
One other thing, my dad stopped drinking after, I believe it was after he got out of the military. Because we had this retirement dinner for him. Like his Masonic Lodge threw a retirement dinner for him outside of his. And, they had, a lot of Masonic brothers come. They had his pastor from his church there, And so it just got to this one point where they're just talking about, drinking and like, Rev, cover your ears. And my dad said something along the lines of, he was like, I drank so much when I was a young man, he was like, I don't need to touch none of that. And for real, man, I saw my dad drink one time. Like our house had burnt down when I was 14.
What?
Yeah. It didn't burn to the ground, but I mean, massive house fire.
Wow.
The same house they're working on now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happened like toward the end of the school year, like, the last week or so of school. And then we got back into the house that fall around September, October. So we had a big like housewarming. And my dad was drinking like, he had like some suitcases of beer, you know what I mean? Like the 24 pack. That's the only time I seen my dad drink in my life. And he wasn't, he just had probably a couple sips or something like that. So just to think back, so that means he stopped drinking in his 20s.
Wow.
So, and I never thought about that.
That's kind of what you did too, right?
Yeah. I was 25. Yeah. So I never tied that together.
So that's kind of the look back, right? So we wanted to take a look back at the lineage and dads, granddads, all of that. So they were very influential, clearly, for both of us. Let's look forward.